What's up guys, welcome to beautiful Vancouver, Canada, and welcome to the 2020 Audi R8. This is the V10 Performance model. The Performance model bumps the horsepower up by 40 horsepower, meaning this one makes 602 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. This is the second generation R8. Of course, the original came out all the way back in 06 or 07, and this is the facelifted version of that second gen. Personally, I think the original has a more timeless design. I think the front end, especially of this one, is a little bit busy, but overall, it's still such an amazing looking car. It looks badass. This matte black finish honestly makes this thing look like the Batmobile. Now, the owner Alex mentioned that he's only done a couple of things to this. It's been lowered a little bit on the stock suspension, and it has the JQ Works magnetic paddle shifters and a full PPF. That's it. This car comes standard with a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. There's no more manual offered for this generation. Carbon ceramic brakes, and because it's a performance, this has fixed dampers, no adaptive suspension. The lesser models actually get magnetic dampers. Over 3,600 pounds, so quite heavy, but it is all-wheel drive, and ultimately, although this is a supercar, it's also meant to be an everyday livable supercar. That's what the original R8 was meant to do, and that's what this generation is as well. So the extra interior creature comforts, these nice quilted leather seats, the 3,600 plus pound curb weight makes sense. Market value for this car is in the $160,000 to $180,000 range. MSRP started at just around 200 grand before options. It hasn't depreciated that much for a 5-year-old car. So with that out of the way, let's take this thing for a drive. We have a drive select button here, but we're actually going to hit this checkered flag button, which engages performance mode, which is separate than what this drive select button will let you do. When you go into performance mode, you actually have to go back and turn the ESC off manually using this button. Change between these views here. I like having that digital tack right in the middle. In performance mode, you have to use the paddle shifters. It won't shift for you. 600 plus horsepower, V10 naturally aspirated. Right away, these magnetic paddle shifters, so clicky. Listen to that. Valved exhaust, we have it open currently. Let's try first gear, shall we? Whoa, that's quick, all right. Despite not having fancy turbochargers or hybridization, this thing is still a properly rapid car, using good old-fashioned natural aspiration, 5.2 liters of displacement. It's an epic engine. It's been around for quite a while, although that's about to change very soon as the R8 is officially being discontinued. This might be the last of its kind. It feels like just a few years ago we were saying, oh, the new R8 or the new whatever supercar or sports car, it's paddle shift this, dual clutch that, all-wheel drive, turbocharged. What happened to the good old days with manual steering or hydraulic steering and a manual transmission? Well, guess what? Times have changed, and now they're changing yet again. Cars with naturally aspirated engines actually a thing of the past. And if you like that high RPM shriek, if you like having to wind the engine out, you don't have many options left. You're pretty much looking at prior generation cars. Even though we're not pushing the car hard at all, it's still very apparent to me that this is first and foremost a sort of GT focused supercar. It's not meant to be a razor-edged track machine. It's not that sort of Porsche GT or McLaren fingertips driving experience. The front end of this car doesn't feel hyper precise. It does have a very quick steering ratio, and there's plenty of front traction given the all-wheel drive system, but it's not a front end that communicates everything to the driver. Frankly, it's a little bit numb. The 7-speed dual clutch though is fantastic. The shifts are so quick and so smooth. A rev limiter. Despite being a sky-high red line, it comes up on you really quick because this car has so much power, but it's not an excessive amount of power. It's still feels surprisingly usable. Can't believe I'm saying that about a 600 horsepower supercar. Let's see, mid-corner here, that's where you feel this car's 3,600 plus pound curb weight. And the all-wheel drive system, it is very rear bias, which is great. This car feels actually quite playful on throttle, but in a slightly blunt way. Even in one of the corners back there, I wasn't pushing it hard at all, maybe 6/10. It had a little bit of safety push built in. And you know what? Maybe that's what you want from your supercar. Maybe you want a truly streetable car that has a little bit of safety built into its handling dynamics, so that you don't feel like you're always on edge. That all-wheel drive system really gives you tons of traction, tons of confidence, as Audi's Quattro system has always been known for. I would describe this Audi R8 as a 7/10 or 8/10 supercar. Oh, wow. For a road car, this is more than enough power. You don't need turbochargers. You don't need instant electric torque for an Audi R8 to feel fast as hell. The one thing I'm not a big fan of is this shift lever. In order to use this to shift manually, push it over to the right, and then you push away to upshift, pull towards you to downshift. It should be the other way around. I guess Audi just doesn't really expect its drivers to use this. And I know that the paddles that originally came mounted behind the steering wheel, very cheap feeling, very small and flimsy. So this upgrade here with the magnetic paddles, definitely a worthy upgrade. It makes the shifting experience feel that much more special. It's so easy to build speed and carry speed with this car because it's so confidence inspiring. Up to 7/10. You feel like, honestly, you're driving the Batmobile, something that other cars on the road have no chance of keeping up with. That's the kind of feeling the R8 gives you, all the while offering you a good amount of comfort. Look at this super quick steering ratio. Almost too quick sometimes. Effortless performance. Now if we want to dial it back, drive select into comfort mode. The exhaust valve closes, transmission shifts automatically. We even get a change in the digital cluster here. Nice and high resolution, easy to read. It's typical Audi stuff. Very nice interior, excellent build quality, even looks great. And I just love the quilted leather on the seats. These seats, by the way, very comfortable. Not super aggressively bolstered, easy to get in and out of this car. Let's put this back into performance mode. You could truly buy this car just because you want to hear that V10 scream to 8,500 RPM. That's how special this engine is in the modern world of supercars. There's even something about a V10, a high revving V10, that sounds even more glorious than a high revving V12. It's not a very smooth, buttery sound, but it sounds somehow more mechanical, more metallic. Take the Lexus LFA or the Porsche Carrera GT. I mean, this R8 engine, while not quite as great sounding as those are the best of all time. Number 1 and number 2 in my opinion. And this R8 isn't that far behind. But at a market value of 160 to 180,000 US dollars, you can get a whole lot of Porsche GT car for that money. 991.2 GT3 prices have fallen into that range. But if you want an everyday drivable supercar that still has the engine character, all of a sudden this R8 makes a ton of sense. It's not a car personally I would buy to take to the racetrack, maybe once or twice just to see what it can do. As a road car though, this thing is phenomenal. It makes the Porsche GT3 interior feel downright barren. So let me know what you think about the Gen 2 facelifted Audi R8 with the full fat 602 horsepower V10 engine. What other cars would you buy in this price range? 160 to 180,000 US dollars. A big shout out to Alex, and I'll see you in the next one.